Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're working with hole 19 yet again. I've recently done another video where I've talked about some new added features that we've got onto the new app. However, there's a new one, a special one, which has just been released today when we're shooting this video. It's called AST, Assisted Shot Tracking. Yes, we're going to dive in when it comes to this video, because if you want to get a little bit more detail on what you're doing when it comes to, let's say, strokes gained, well, this assisted shot tracking is definitely going to help with your game. So let's get into the video and talk you through some of the updates. Let's roll. 3-iron to get us going with off the tee. I'll talk you why I'm hitting 3-iron just in a moment. Yeah, that'll do me. Wind out the left today. That'll be absolutely fine there. Leave a full shot in. So 3-iron off the first, and the reason I've hit 3-iron off the first is there's a bit of work being done on this hole, 16th hole here at Hendriksen. There's a few issues they've been having with some houses on the right hand side, so just trying to, I don't know, keep the peace a little bit by laying up short, not hitting driver and riding the wind out of play, causing any more damage. So 3-iron to get us going with. I want to talk to you about dispersion when it comes to the app as well. So the dispersion feature that we just talked about there is that something that I've been working with. I've created another video which will be coming out following on from this particular video, but the dispersion tool that they've got on this new upgraded app version is absolutely fantastic. Being able to plot your way around the golf course just a little bit easier, which I know lots of golfers need, especially if they're going from different golf courses or playing golf courses they've never seen before. So obviously I've set myself up as a scratch golfer for this particular setup here, and you can see the outer ring, which is where that 9-iron is showing on that top there. Well, the inner ring is the what a tour player would fire into. That's the sort of dispersion point, whereas I've got that 9-iron, and I can, that outside that ring is the solid ring is where my dispersion would be on average for a scratch golfer. And then obviously as you plumb in your handicap, the ring will increase or decrease depending on the skill set that you're bringing to the table. So what's great is on this situation here, where let's say I want to move that pin over to that left hand side there, which is exactly where it is. It's kind of front, more of front, kind of front left there. Now what you can see is when I move my dispersion ring across there, if I was to set up, let's say, going for that flag, you can see that on the left hand side I haven't got much wriggle room before I sort of start missing the green. So for me, anything kind of finishing just right at that flag is going to be absolutely spot on. Now this is not taking into consideration wind on this particular setup, so I'm going to hit 9-iron because the wind's more straight out the left rather than into, and that's 142 yards, which is the number that I've plumbed in for my 9-iron. If I move that cursor up the green there, you can see as we work our way up towards the back of the green, it will jump up to an 8-iron at 152, and if I come up short there, we're moving into pitching wedges. So 9-iron, I think, puts me into the perfect spot. That house in the background is not a bad starting point with this wind. Nice, get the club then, be the number. Be the number. Oh, drop and stop today. There's not a lot of, it's so much rain over the weekend. I didn't even think we were going to get out today, but we've had a lot of rain, so every shot that I hit is going to stop really quickly. I didn't think I needed to hit it that hard down that hill, but it is wet. So here comes the part of the assisted shot tracking. So I'm going to now input what I've done right the way down through this hole. So we work our way down from the actual tee box. Obviously I've plumbed in that we're playing off the blue tees, so with the back tees they're actually orange markers because of the winter. So as we work our way down, we can see those pluses there. I'm going to tap on that plus of what I hit, which tells me that I've hit a 3-iron. If I go up to the top there and press edit, I can move it around to different clubs of whatever I've hit, but I did actually hit the 3-iron, which it's kind of it's defaulted to that because of the fact that it's gone that yardage, so it roughly gives you what your club should be for that yardage. So I've hit it around 200 yards, which if you think drop and stop today, I would say that's absolutely spot on. The lie was actually fairway. I could change that lie if I wanted to change it, but ultimately I select lie and then move into different positions, but I don't need to because it's again defaulted through to that fairway setting, which is what we had. I then work my way down all the way down to where I finished up on that green there, and you can see that plus mark point plus that. hit the 9-iron, I got it onto that green position, and then when it finishes that, it's then going to move in to give me my putts. And then as you can see there, press the next plus, which is where we're stood here right now. It gives me my auto putts, which I could go up or down depending on what I actually finished up from a putting point of view. And then, because I obviously 2-putted that one, I just press save, and then we then move on to the next hole, which is already kind of inputted in there for me, and then we move on to 17. At that sign in the background, and then hopefully it will just drift back towards my target, yeah? That was a club short. That was a club short there. So it's interesting, I just coming up here now, absolutely ripped that 5-iron. I was toggling around on the tee box there as to what I should hit, where the position of the green was, which is fantastic and gives you a really clear view, a bird's eye view really, of looking down exactly how the hole's going to play, which I love. But what I've not really taken into consideration there is that from the 16th hole, we've kind of shifted a slight angle, which means that that actual tee shot was more into wind than I probably anticipated, which is something, again, you got to be mindful of all this sort of stuff. You know, there's a lot of things going on, especially if you're using new stuff, new equipment, getting an understanding of it, but also then taking into the other elements. So this shot here, most certainly that 5-iron was more like a 4-iron or even a 3-iron, because of the fact the wind was slightly into it. Not going to get there. Go, go, go hard. Just caught it a bit thin. Go, 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 go. So slow this morning. So slow. I mean, the course, to be fair, the course was closed yesterday because it was just too wet. And so they've probably not even had the chance to get out and cut any of the greens or do anything with them. So a little slow. So the thing that I'm kind of quite excited about moving forward, I'm just plumbing everything in here. Change that to a 5-iron, which is what we hit, is the fact that, you know, when I'm plumbing all of this stuff in, when it comes to then the analytics of everything, I can look, so if I'm plumbing in the 9-iron here, I can see how good I've been with those irons. So if for example, if I'm chipping with a 9-iron and I get my analytics over time, I can see over a period, let's say, of 6 months, I can see how good I am with a 9-iron compared to, let's say, a sand wedge or a pitching wedge or an 8-iron, depending what you enjoy chipping with. And it gives you then areas of which you can then kind of focus on to improve your game, which is kind of what this is kind of all about, isn't it? 18th hole then. Just want to dive in a little bit more when it comes to the dispersion side of things now that I'm on a tee box, which I'm going to hit driver or want to hit driver. Wind is out the right this time, so I'm playing the wind. It's probably not, it's not hurting, but you know, do I either fight the wind or do I play the wind, depending on what I'm trying to maybe achieve off the tee box. But you can see here with my dispersion points, as I move up to driver, I get a little bit wider. Now, as time moves on and as this system understands who you are and what your statistics are all about, that dispersion will start to increase or decrease. This is based off averages for a scratch golfer, and it will be, again, averages for what you are. But as I move into my 5-wood, you can see my dispersion chart just brings down slightly, so I'm a little bit more accurate obviously with 5-wood than I am, or 3-wood than I am with driver. So there's a couple of bunkers that I need to consider up here. There's a bunker down the left hand side, which is the key one really, because with today's wind I shouldn't really be messing about with those right traps because the wind should bring it out of there. But so ideally I do want to take driver on down here, because even if I get too wide, I might, worst case scenario, as I get into the left hand trees, or worst case scenario, end up in those bunkers on the right hand side, which is obviously what I'm trying to avoid. But I think with what's going on here today, I think I'm a little bit tighter than probably what an average scratch golfer is when it comes to driver. It's one of the strongest parts of my game. So with that in mind, as long as I avoid that bunker down the left hand side, which is kind of where my 3-wood would be, I should be absolutely fine. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Wind just dropping it to the left now. Yeah, middle of the fairway. That'll do me. This wind, every time I can make a move, it wants to shift slightly. So it's now, I would say it's Well, based on where I am, so I've avoided that trap, I've avoided those traps, perfect drive, but I would say the wind's hurting slightly. That pin is situated right at the back of the green there. So with that in mind, it's a pitching wedge on the yardage, but still a pitching wedge. It likes pitching wedge. I don't like pitching wedge. I'm going to go with a little knockdown shot just to keep it out of the wind and stop letting it move as much. So I'm going to just grip down on maybe a 9-iron and just kind of push one in a little bit lower. Rethink, wind's more into, going to go with this little knockdown 8-iron. My eyes are telling me that 9-iron's not even going to get there today. So we're going to go a little knockdown, see if we can just punch one in. Look at that float up in the air. Go forward, ball. Go forward. It's 114. Stop there. The other thing about that shot, and this is more about the shot, is that if I'd have tried to force a 9-iron or a pitching wedge, even though I wouldn't, let's say, I might have been able to really force a 9-iron, back foot it and get it right the way back there. But you also got to think about the spin. The harder you hit something, the more spin you generate. So if you want to keep one out of the wind a little bit, then by hitting a club, 2 clubs more than what you're expecting, just trying to swing it really, really softly, that will generally, well, more than likely change your angle of attack into the ball, but also it'll change your speed and therefore reduce your spin. So when the ball lands on soft conditions like we got today, it's not spinning back off the green. Steady now. Yeah, not bad. Had to give that an almighty wallop up there. In. Right, that's the par to finish. So driver off the tee, getting myself onto the putting green with an 8-iron, which he even thinks I'm hitting sandwich from there. It's 114 yards because it's only gone, the 8-iron's gone 95 yards. And then we've got our 2 putts, auto save for 2 putts. Again, we can up and down that if depending on what the situation was. And there we are. That is the finish the round, and then that will update my statistics as we kind of move on through. And this is really going to be fantastic when we move on throughout the rounds, throughout time, and then start to really dive in deep into exactly what I'm doing. You know, on TV we see it all the time with tour players. They get it all done for them. We're going to put it into this and it will help us create it for us, so therefore we can have the stats, we can improve our game, we can take it to our coaches and give them an idea of what we actually really need to be working on. Excited to see what happens with hole 19. I'm actually in phone calls with them all the time, helping hopefully update this app and improve on things that probably the average golfer's going to need. And I'm happy to say that we are really starting moving forward with this. I hope you've enjoyed that video. Don't forget to go and check out hole 19 for yourself. A link in the description for your own discount, because that's really important that you get that. And we'll see you again on the next video.